Join us on an immersive exploration of the enigmatic Atlantis, where myth and reality collide, and the remnants of a once glorious civilization beckon with riddles, artifacts, and untold mysteries that continue to captivate the imagination. The greatest fact or fiction mystery ever, the legend of Atlantis has captivated the imagination of adventurers, historians, and dreamers for centuries. Though the city remains lost beneath the depths of the ocean or the depths of human imagination, the fascination surrounding Atlantis continues to endure, inspiring countless explorations and sparking heated debates among scholars. So in this video, we delve into the enduring allure of this mythical city. The story of Atlantis originated from Plato's dialogues Timaeus and Criticus. According to Plato, Atlantis was an advanced civilization that existed around 9,000 years before his own time, and he wrote this around 360 BC. The city was said to have been an ideal society, governed by wise rulers, possessing remarkable technology, military might, and unparalleled prosperity. It ruled all western parts of the known world and was said to be larger than Libya and Asia combined. This area would be the whole of present-day northern Africa and about half of Turkey. However, the hubris and moral decline eventually led to their downfall. They got too big for their britches, thinking they could conquer any and every society. Unfortunately, they bit more than they could chew when they tried to take on ancient Athens and failed woefully. And as punishment, the gods sank the entire city of Atlantis into the ocean. Whether you think this sounds plausible or completely fictional, you would be in good company. Interestingly though, if you ever managed to get your hands on either of Plato's works where Atlantis was mentioned, you'd find that the city wasn't exactly the central focus. It's just something that he mentioned along the way, which is one of the reasons why many scholars have theorized that Atlantis was a symbol of something else, most likely what Plato considered to be the ideal state of a republic. Another reason many scholars don't think Atlantis actually existed is because Plato's account is the primary source of information on it. Nobody before him talked about Atlantis, and everyone that mentioned it after him referenced Plato. So how exactly did the story grow into this huge tale of fact or fiction? Well, first off, many years after Plato, a number of Renaissance writers who loved the tale of Atlantis and were inspired by it started to mention the city in their own works, which is kind of how it started to grow in popularity. You'll find mentions of Atlantis in Francis Bacon's New Atlantis and Thomas More's Utopia. They treated the city as allegorical, and their pieces were utopian in nature anyway. They used it to explore concepts of ideal societies, morality, and the dangers of human arrogance, believing that to be Plato's original intention. By the way, Aristotle, the famous philosopher and student of Plato, also didn't think that Atlantis was a real place. He mentioned it in a number of his works, way before the Renaissance of course, that Plato invented the island and did that to teach philosophy. You would think that hearing this from Plato's own student would seal the deal, relegating Atlantis to nothing more than a philosophical lesson. However, by the 19th century, scholars had started treating Atlantis as an actual place that existed, and some sources say that Ignatius Donnelly, former U.S. congressman, is largely responsible for this. He published a book titled Atlantis, where he laid out 13 hypotheses explaining how Atlantis truly existed and was indeed everything that Plato said it was in his writings. Where earlier scholars treated the lost city of Atlantis as nothing more than an allegory, probably representing the Archaemenid Empire which actually existed, Donnelly and a number of other 19th century scholars believe that Plato left enough clues in his works to suggest that Atlantis actually existed, and thus began or maybe increased the mystery. Is Atlantis just fictional, or is it still hidden somewhere in the bottom of some ocean? As we mentioned earlier, many modern-day scholars and regular people do not think that Atlantis ever existed. You probably don't either, but there's a lot of nuance to the unbelief. While some do not believe in the existence of Atlantis at all, some others think that it was just code for a city that actually used to exist but doesn't anymore. So these people think that if we actually look properly, we could find that lost city. That group of people, plus the group of people that believe Atlantis actually existed, are the reason why there are so many Atlantis finding expeditions over the years. Numerous theories have emerged regarding the possible locations of Atlantis. Some speculate that Atlantis could be linked to real ancient civilizations, such as the Minoans on the island of Crete or the ancient city of Troy. However, two prominent hypotheses have garnered significant attention. The first theory proposes that Atlantis is located in the Atlantic Ocean, as its name suggests. Proponents of this theory don't believe that Atlantis was sunk as some punishment by the gods. They suggest that Atlantis sank due to cataclysmic events like earthquakes or tsunamis. This hypothesis has fueled expeditions to the Caribbean, the Azores, and even the depths of the Atlantic. But tangible evidence of Atlantis remains elusive. The second theory suggests that Atlantis was not situated in the Atlantic, but rather in the Mediterranean Sea. Some researchers believe that the volcanic island of Santorini, once home to the Minoan civilization, could have been the basis for Plato's Atlantis. Santorini's cataclysmic eruption around 1600 BCE led to the collapse of the Minoan civilization, leading some to draw parallels with Plato's account. Again, explorations in this area have yielded no results, but people have managed to keep hope alive. There have been other theories along the way, though. Some believe that Plato may have drawn inspiration for his story about Atlantis from Egyptian records of the Thera eruption, the Trojan War, or even the Sea People's invasion to come up with Atlantis. All of these actual events led to the eradication of actual cities, and Plato has been known to draw inspiration from actual events in his works. So it could be that he did the same with Atlantis. More recently, some people have been thinking of the Eye of the Sahara as the most likely location of Atlantis if it actually existed. The Eye of the Sahara, known as the Richat structure, is a distinct geological feature located in West Africa. Its circular shape and concentric rings are what led some to speculate that it could be the remains of a submerged city like Atlantis. Even though scientists think that this structure is nothing more mystical than a geological formation resulting from erosion, there are people that still believe in the potential of it being Atlantis. What makes Atlantis so captivating is the allure of a lost civilization. The idea of a technologically advanced and prosperous society suddenly vanishing beneath the waves stirs our imagination and fuels our desire for discovery. Atlantis represents the ultimate mystery, tempting explorers and archaeologists to embark on quests to unveil its secrets. Even people who would say that they're 100% convinced that Atlantis does not exist still have that voice at the back of their minds that says it just might. Apparently, archaeologists are not mad about this. That is, where would you think that those who have devoted their time and expertise to digging up things and are so more likely to know whether or not a submerged city exists would be annoyed at all the people that think that Atlantis exists? A lot of them are actually not. In fact, they think it could be a good thing for their discipline, as being interested in places that might or might not exist could get them curious enough to be interested in actual archaeology. There's no way to verify whether or not that's worked. How can you tell whether those who are archaeologists went into the field because they just couldn't shake off the thought that Atlantis remains hidden in an ocean somewhere? Whatever the case, though, pop culture has clung on to the idea of portraying Atlantis as a real place and refused to let it go. There have been movies about it, and even Disney has gotten in on the action. With pop culture continually making these references, chances are that there will always be believers, and maybe the field of archaeology would continue to survive as a result. While the lost city of Atlantis continues to elude us, its impact on our collective consciousness remains profound. Whether a work of fiction or based on a real ancient civilization, Atlantis symbolizes the allure of the unknown and the yearning for discovery. The legend of Atlantis reminds us of the impermanence of even the mightiest civilizations and the eternal fascination with uncovering the mysteries of our past. As long as there are dreamers and adventurers, the quest for Atlantis will endure, inspiring us to explore the depths of our world and our own imagination. Like stories like these, make sure you click the subscribe button before it disappears. See you in the next one.